Hey everyone, welcome to another daily editorial here on the KE Report. We are getting an update from Eloro Resources, traded on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol ELO and on the OTCQX under the symbol ELRRF. I am chatting with the Executive Vice President of Exploration, Bill Pearson. And I think, as you all can tell, this is a special video interview because we are diving into the most recent news release that was released on March 1st. It is a pretty significant drill hole here from the Iska Iska silver tin polymetallic project in Bolivia. Now, to take everyone through the history here, the company really made the initial discovery back in late 2020 and has continued with a pretty aggressive drill program that has made some additional discoveries. And now, with this most recent news release, the headline number of 171 grams per ton silver equivalent over 373 meters. The key here, though, from what I understand chatting with Bill, is this tin porphyry that the company is starting to hit now at depth. So Bill, you have provided a number of slides here that you're going to walk us through. Take us through this drill hole and the whole strategy behind this program, please.
Yeah, thanks, Cory. Delighted to have the opportunity to give you an update here. As you mentioned, very, very exciting hole, and I'll show you why we believe it is so significant. Our usual forward-looking statements here. This just gives you an overview of the site so you can get a feeling for the geography. We're in this big caldera complex. You can see the Santa Barbara breccia pipe area here, the original two adits where we're still drilling in Santa Barbara. And I'll talk about this Porco area and the Porco adit over here. Great area to work, good logistics. This is a simplified geological map. So we're in this huge caldera complex. We've got a porphyry epithermal system, which keeps getting bigger and bigger. We have these huge breccia pipes. We have huge dacitic domes. And we've also recently identified several secondary calderas. So you can see here the main caldera in black here. You can see the big breccia pipes. We've been concentrating our area in this dashed red area, which is our Santa Barbara mineral resource definition drilling target area. But as I'll show you with our recent results, it's pointing towards this south area in Porco has got large potential for a big tin porphyry at depth. This complex is huge. You can see the scale on the map here. Overall, we think it's probably more like about 4 kilometers by 2 kilometers, extending to probably more than a kilometer deep. There's 1 kilometer relief from the valley to the peak. So this whole volcanic complex, which is really unique in southern Bolivia, has been remarkably preserved.
So, Bill, that's a massive size. Let me jump in there quickly, just with that whole size component. How does that relate to other projects in Bolivia? And is all the metallurgy or all the minerals that you are seeing in the drilling so far, is it all somewhat related?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, most people are familiar with the famous Cerro Rico, the largest silver mine in the world. But what people don't realize is Cerro Rico actually has a lot of zinc, lead, and tin. And there's a whole polymetallic province in southern Bolivia where you see a lot of deposits of this size. So the mineralogy and the metal content here is quite comparable to our famous neighbors. What's different is the entire volcanic edifice here is preserved. So what is unique about Iska Iska is we have these huge breccia pipes, this massive mineralized envelope that's full of shattered rocks, mainly dacites. That's something that is really, really unique. And Osvaldo Arce, Dr. Arce, who's my good friend and colleague down there, has been managing, is an absolute expert on Bolivian geology. He's written several textbooks on it. Um, this style has of mineralization and this type of volcanic edifice has not been seen elsewhere in Bolivia, because if it did occur elsewhere, it's been eroded. Iska Iska is unique from the combination of a quartz sandstone basement, which is very erosionally resistant, and the fact that the epithermal stage of mineralization is accompanied by a lot of silicification, which again is erosionally resistant. So this thing has been remarkably preserved. And the obvious question is, well, the Spaniards had thousands of slaves prospecting through here. Many people have been through here. Why wasn't this found previously? And uh, Osvaldo made the interesting observation early on, well, every single major peak in southern Bolivia has a tin mine. What's wrong with Iska Iska? Well, the reason why it was never found is if you look at this magnetic profile here, you'll see it's very, very low magnetically in the oxide zone. And of course, what's happened is all the metals have been leached out. So when you sampled its surface, you didn't get anything. But down below the surface, there is this absolutely massive system here. So there's lots of similarities in terms of geological timing, in terms of metal content, but Iska Iska is really a uniquely preserved system.
Okay, thanks for covering that, Bill. Let's talk about these drill results then and that whole potential porphyry down at the bottom right of that cross section.
Absolutely. Well, this is a cross section through our inverse magnetic model here. You can see that what we think at Iska Iska is we have this massive tongue coming up here from a tin porphyry at depth. You can see our major target zones, Santa Barbara here up at the top of the tongue, Central, big one down here at Porco. And essentially you can think of Santa Barbara as the frothy top, and it's a polymetallic silver, zinc, lead tin. But as you get deeper down here, you lose the lead and zinc. You get more primarily tin with some silver. Down in Porco, we also see some copper gold showing up. So there's quite a distinct metal zonation. And we've talked some time about, we think there's a big porphyry, tin porphyry driving this whole thing. But that was conceptual. Now, what we're seeing, especially with our most recent release, is the fact that concept is moving into reality. And I'll show you the exciting picture that's evolving here. So this is a plan map just to show you our detailed drilling. You can see we got very good coverage now of the Santa Barbara area. DSBU-3, which we just released, it's right where my cursor is, drilled underground from Santa Barbara due west at about minus 50 degrees. You can see the scale of the zone we're doing this definition drilling in, 1400 by 500 by 600. But DSBU-03 is a real game changer because it's showing you that this area here we're drilling, that's going to be domain 1. In other words, that's going to be a polymetallic zone with silver, lead, zinc, and tin. Well, I'm going to show you what I think will turn into a massive domain 2, which will be primarily tin. And just to sort of refresh people's thinking, here's DSBU-3 at the top, by far our biggest hole here. You can see the tin grade, 0.22. To put that into perspective, the average tin grade in mines in Bolivia are somewhere around 0.15 to 0.2%. So this is very, very high. You can see tin is a very important component, silver, zinc, and lead. And to show you it visually, this shows the relative value of the major metal components in these intersections. And you can see silver in red here You can see the increasing importance of tin in our most recent DSBU03. Tin is huge, and zinc and lead is also very important, but this is in the higher part of the system. So moving to our release yesterday, an amazing hole, and you can see this is the cross section we had in our press release. You can see DSBU3 here. This is the 373. There's a little bit of a gap, and then there's another very long intersection here as well. In fact, the whole very intensely mineralized area is almost 500 meters long. Again, you can see the scale of this section at 1,000 meters across. So the results are terrific, but when you put them into context, to me, as an exploration geologist, they're especially significant. I've always liked the Porco area to the south. You can see we got some tremendous grades from channel sampling in the Porco adit. This adit is 200 meters south of where we radially drilled and is actually in the sandstones. But you can see this beautiful massive sulfide veins, and what really, to me, is exciting are these stockworks. Again, you can see very high tin values here, 0.66. So this is a precursor of, wow, there's got to be some major tin around here. So let's just move to show you why we believe this is so significant. So here's DSBU 03. I'm looking to the southeast here towards the Porco area. And this is our inverse magnetic model. So in other words, this is modeling the body that we basically, the software calculates is likely reflecting the tin mineralization. Now, it's important to realize that in the higher level parts of the deposit, where you get the silver, lead, and zinc and tin, the iron mineral that accompanies it is pyrite, which is non-magnetic. When you get down deeper and you're in tin mineralization principally, the sulfide mineral, the iron mineral accompanying it is pyrrhotite. And pyrrhotite is magnetic. So that's what we're picking up here. And you can see we were very excited because you can see where DSBU-03 hits our model here. Well, that's exactly where that nice big fat intersection is. And you realize that, hey, wait a minute, I'm just on the north tip of this model, and look at how much of this whole thing goes down to the south. Now you might ask, well, what about those Porco drill holes? Well, actually, there was one hole in Porco, DPC1, that clipped the edge of the model. Guess what? Where it clipped it, that's where the best values, and they were tin. So right now I've got a hole set up just north of down the valley from where we did the radial drilling that's going in the guts. If I can prove that this is a huge tin porphyry, it's pretty obvious the size potential here, and you've already seen this hole here. So that's one of the reasons why we are very, very excited about this this hole. The other thing is, if you think about Iska Iska conceptually from a mining point of view, the Santa Barbara area is obviously a potential open pit. But remember, I've got a 1 kilometer of relief from the valley to the mountain. So even though this is deeper relative to the mountain, I can actually go down to the valley and potentially drive and add it into this. So I think what we're going to see here is Iska Iska is going to become two major deposits. We're going to have the silver, zinc, lead, tin polymetallic deposit in the Santa Barbara area, and we're going to have a potentially huge tin porphyry style deposit down further south, down towards the Porco area. That's where this is pointing. So this is a very, very exciting development, and well, I'm keeping my fingers crossed in the next hole. If I can prove this model, then it's pretty obvious that we're into a massive element.
Yeah, well, this is a massive blob that we are looking at here. And considering you have one hole, this hole 3 that has gone more directly into this blob, but one other hole that touched it. Because of the size of this, I realize you have one more hole that is going through what looks like the center of it. What's it going to take to drill off and prove out just how big this potential, essentially, tin deposit could be here?
Well, it's obviously going to take an awful lot more drilling. That's one of the things we'll obviously figure it out, but you'll need another, 50,000 plus meters of drilling, obviously, to do this. But it's such a tantalizing target, and that's a big reason why the results from DSBU-03, like just on their own volition, are really, really good. But when you put them into context, they are validating our model here. And I'm very confident that this model is a very, very good predictor of where tin mineralization is. And so if I can validate that, and that's going to happen over the next, hopefully 6 to 8 weeks. The assay turnaround is improving a lot. You may have noticed we put out, well, this is third press release with results, and we're just in the early March. So the lab turnaround is getting much, much better. So this is a very, very pivotal hole for this project, and it essentially has the potential to really confirm and show the world that in addition to this huge polymetallic deposit we have in the Santa Barbara area, we have a potential for a massive tin porphyry a little deeper down. But remember, it may be deeper down in the mountain, but it's still not, it's still very accessible from the valley because you've got a kilometer of relief there.
Oh, and that's an important part because that can help cut down drill costs and even get you to this potential deposit a bit quicker. What else do you want to tell us here, Bill, before we wrap this up?
Well, I guess to summarize here, we're still focused on getting that 43101 compliant mineral resource in the Santa Barbara area. And again, this target is huge. We're talking, potential of hundreds of millions of tons. Micon is currently working with our model, and we have metallurgical tests in progress with Blue Coast Research on Vancouver Island. That's moving forward very well. In fact, one of the samples is the deep hole I mentioned previously in DSB6, which hit 0.43% tin over 73 meters. And at the time, I was wondering, well, what is the significance of this intersection? It was quite different from the polymetallic. And now, of course, I know, well, that was the northern edge of what we hit in hole DSBU-3, which is, as I showed you, at the tip of the iceberg. We're adding another drill on site now that we're getting better turnaround on assays. We'll have a fourth rig in a couple of weeks. I also have a very state-of-the-art core scanning system coming down, which should be there by the end of March, which will help us immensely. Still early stage, but DSBU-3, I think, is, when we look back on this in 6-8 months, this is a huge leap forward on the project. Clearly indicates the potential for a major, major tin porphyry. So the coming months will be very, very exciting. So you won't have, in terms of this project, a dead time while you sit there and wait until I produce a resource for Santa Barbara. That work is obviously going on, but in the meantime, you'll be able to see how the exploration to prove up what we think is there, a huge tin porphyry. So very, very exciting times. And again, this still is very early stage. We've been only at this for 15 months, and the pace of this project is amazing. And the other important thing is, I mean, I've worked in the exploration business around the world for 47 years. We've drilled 81 plus holes now. Not one hole is blank. all of them have multiple reportable intersections, which is extraordinary. And it's telling you this is an absolutely huge, I certainly think will become a world-class deposit, and it will be a very large polymetallic silver, zinc, lead, tin. That'll be deposit 1 in the Santa Barbara area. Deposit 2 will be a huge tin porphyry a little deeper down. So exciting times at Eloro. Delighted the market responded so well in the last day, and going forward, this is pretty amazing. So stay tuned.
All right. Well, Bill, thank you for that update. And sounds like kind of a two-pronged approach right now, especially with this, in a way, kind of new porphyry tin discovery. Although I know that that was in the works, and part of your guys' narrative is you are continuing to drill this out from some of our last conversations. If anybody has any follow-up questions regarding any of the work going on at Eloro Resources, please email me, fleck@kereport.com. I will get Bill and the rest of the team to address those. Bill, thank you again for your time.
My pleasure. Anytime.